This is the generation with the most remakes ever, as far as I can remember. There hasn't been any other gen like this. There have been a few remakes in the past, notoriously. In the PS2 gen, there were a few remakes announced, produced, and released. Some of the most famous ones were the Resident Evil 1 remake, of course, and Twin Snakes, which is the Metal Gear Solid 1 remake. But those two remakes made sense because even though the games were relatively young, technology, was advancing pretty quickly in those years. So even in just 3 years, you got a huge jump in terms of graphics and computational power in the consoles. Because there's a huge jump between the PS1 and the Nintendo 64, for example, and the PS2 and the GameCube. So it made sense to remake those two games, so Metal Gear Solid 1 and Resident Evil 1, due to the better technical aspects, but also for the new audience that they will find on Nintendo consoles. And those were pretty much the most two famous remakes in that generation. I don't remember many other. There were a few others probably, but they were probably minor ones. But in this generation, there has been a lot of stuff released, a lot of stuff announced. Resident Evil remakes, Silent Hill remakes, Metal Gear Solid remakes, Dead Space remakes, Final Fantasy VII remakes, Max Payne remakes. I don't know, maybe I'm forgetting something, but this to me just screams a total lack of creativity first, laziness as well, but also the fact that they are remaking games that are already beloved by people. They are remaking games that don't really need a remake, even in some cases. For example, Dead Space 1 really didn't need a remake, in my opinion, because it already plays like a modern game. It needed more likely a re-release, a remaster with the updated graphics, so with the high-res textures and some of the bugs and controls ironed out. Maybe they could have released a trilogy of the space like they did with Mass Effect. Actually, I think Mass Effect 1 needed a remake. Meanwhile, Dead Space 1 needed a re-release through a collection. But yeah. So all these remakes that are in most cases fan fictions, because most of the people who worked on the original titles probably don't even work at the companies anymore. So people who had no input in the original titles are working on these remakes in most cases. And this to me makes these games not remakes but fan fictions. Because I personally don't really care when a remake is made by people who had nothing to do with the original, for the most part. For me, a remake is valid only if a good chunk of the original team works on it. So something like the Silent Hill 2 remake, I don't know, it's just doesn't make sense. Also because you would think that Konami would have learned their lesson by now, meaning that you don't put in the hands of Western studios properties that were made by Japanese studios. Yeah, remember what happened to Castlevania? I do. Mercury Steam fucked up the reboot. I mean, the first game was okay. Lords of Shadow, even though it wasn't really that good in my opinion. It was pretty par for the course. But the sequels, so Mirror of Fate and Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2, were pretty ranging from mediocre to bad, and in fact, Lords of Shadow killed the reboot series. And Konami, I think, yeah, Konami hasn't made a game, an original game, since Metal Gear Survive, which is almost 10 years at this point. Yeah. But like I was saying, all these remakes, like, who even is asking for them, honestly? And it's funny because there's some people that will tell you, they will say to people like me, well, you're living in the past. Well, I'm not the one asking for all these remakes. I think I want software houses to come up with new ideas, with good games and new ideas. But no, they are the ones who keep living in the past because they keep churning out these remakes, because they clearly don't have a fucking clue on what to do next. So they rely on beloved properties, old games that already have clout to shit out an easy cash grab. Because, come on, when you make a remake of a famous game, it's guaranteed money because you don't really have to do much of anything. Everything is already planned out. The story, the gameplay, for the most part, is already planned out. You just have maybe to change a few things to fuck it up because of more modern sensibilities, all that stupid stuff. But it's easy money. If you're remaking a game that is already good, people are gonna buy it, because that's what a remake is nowadays. Instead of remaking games that really need a remake, like, I don't know, Devil May Cry 2 really needs a remake. I don't think anybody will complain if they ever announce a Devil May Cry 2 remake, for example. But no, they don't, because they want the easy money. They want money with the leaders, with the most little effort possible. It's just lazy, honestly. Like, they should stop living in the past and come up with something new. That's the issue. Because, like I said before, I don't care about remakes made by people who barely worked on the original. So this is just shameful. Another sign that this generation is the worst generation ever. All these remakes, that just screams to me lack of vision, lack of ideas, laziness, and an extreme pursuit of money first, instead of quality and interesting new ideas. No, just give me the fucking profit with the little, with the smallest effort possible. That's what the industry has reduced itself to. No, yeah, I don't know. Also, another thing that bothers me about these remakes is that in most cases they use the same exact title as the original. So when you go on Google and look for the results related to the old game, you'll have to input the year the original game came out in as well, to get results related to that one, because otherwise you'll only get, in 90% of cases, you'll only get results related to the newest remake, of course, and that fucking annoys me, because it feels like they want to replace the legacy of the old games. I think remakes should have a subtitle so that they are easily distinguishable from the originals. So that's why I respect more remakes like Twin Snakes or Final Fantasy VII Remake, for example. Because there's actual monikers attached to their names that lets you know immediately, yeah, this is another game, it's not the original. But in most cases, no, they just don't. They just use the same title for maximum laziness, for maximum leeching off of clout and fame and recognition. But yeah, we'll see what they announce. When is it? Sunday, I think. When there's the Xbox showcase. Maybe if they announce something interesting, maybe I'll talk about that too. But yeah. In the meantime, this is just it. Let me know your thoughts, your opinions. Put a like, write comments and all that stuff. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good night, guys.